Welcome to Blended Scotch Reviews by Stab the Dragon Productions for the Blended Scotch Tournament, match number 6. Today is Saturday, August 23rd, 2025, and I'm coming to you from Fort Worth, Texas, where it's currently 97 degrees. I'm reviewing about 20 blended scotches or so from the budget side of the house, $30 and under. And after reviewing a couple of them, I'll pair them up in a head-to-head match to see if I can determine which one I like the most. The rules: I use blacked out glasses so that I cannot cheat by figuring out which is which by looking at them. I mix up the glasses, and the glasses do have numbers on the bottom, and so you'll see those, but I won't. I evaluate the whiskeys based on their history, their bottle, label, and marketing, composition, nose, taste, mouthfeel, burn, finish, and then price, value, and marketing. The bottom line is, which of these two, I should say price, value, and availability, actually. The marketing goes back when I'm looking at the bottle and label. The bottom line is, which of these two whiskeys would I prefer to drink 3 out of 5 nights if I was offered both of these whiskeys 5 nights in a row and could only choose one? In case of a tie, that's where the price, value, and availability will decide. And just for fun, I do try to guess which is in which glass, but that's not part of the competition. That's just for fun. The winner of the competition may actually get a cocktail at the end. We'll see. Tonight's whiskeys are, in glass number 1, we have Grant's Triple Wood. And in glass number 2, we have Shieldaig Classic. So first, the history. Let's look at Grant's Triple Wood. William Grant had been working for a distillery in Scotland as a bookkeeper, but he saved his money until he could buy his own distillery in 1887. And when I say buy, I mean he built it. He and his 7 sons, wife, and 2 daughters built the Glenfiddich Distillery in Dufftown in the Valley of Deer, hence the name Glenfiddich, and it's in the Speyside region of Scotland. Prohibition later in the 1920s kind of put a damper on all the whiskey makers everywhere, but what did the Grants do? The Grants increased production and saved their whiskey in barrels, knowing that Prohibition would likely come to a fairly quick end, and they were proven right. And so at the end of Prohibition in 1933 in America, Grants had plenty of whiskey available to sell. So they kind of cornered the market there. And then, let me see, later on, they had on-site coopersmiths, they had on-site copper workers, so they could build and repair their own stuff. And then in the 1950s, they developed this triangular bottle. And that's kind of a unique look to Grant's blends, and Glenfiddich also shares this kind of bottle. In 1963, Glenfiddich became the first distillery to market their single malt outside of Scotland around the world. It was a risky move, but it proved successful. And today the distillery is still family-owned, 5th generation. Now let's look at Shieldaig Classic. The company that makes this blend is Ian MacLeod, which is also a family-owned business that stretches back over 80 years. They also own brands like the Isle of Skye Blended, which was the second whiskey in this series that I reviewed. The brand was established by Ian MacLeod in 1933 on the Isle of Skye, which is the largest, most northern island of the Inner Hebrides island chain, located off the northwest coast of Scotland. It is mountainous and has been inhabited for about 10,000 years. It's been the home of Picts, Celts, Gaels, Vikings, and the clans of MacLeods and MacDonalds. Talisker Distillery was founded there in 1830 and was the sole distillery on the island until recently, which is one reason why we think Talisker may be in some of Ian McLeod's whiskeys. The brand was local and family owned until it was sold to Peter J. Russell, a whiskey broker, and it's been in the Russell family all these years to the present day. And they kept the name Ian McLeod. Shieldaig is one of their big brands, but it's only marketed through Total Wine here in the States. So it's in their Spirits Direct lineup. So Shieldaig does not have near the circulation that Grant's does. And the name Shieldaig refers to a village on the northwest coast of Scotland known for its herring. So that's the name in Old Norse. Shieldaig means lock of the herring. So when I drink this whiskey, I get this vision of Vikings fishing for herring in this loch 1,000 years ago. Why not? All right, when it comes to history between these two brands, I am definitely going to give the edge to the Grants. Bottle label and marketing. Grants has this unique triangular bottle and really a better label. Both whiskeys are only available in 750 at one of my local big box stores, but Grants is also available and at 1.75 at another store. And Grants around the world is like the 4th or 5th largest selling Scotch whiskey brand. So I think for bottle label and marketing, and, you know, there's no knock on Shieldaig. I mean, it's an attractive bottle. It's a decent label. But I think Grants wins the bottle label and marketing prize as well. Composition. We know a bit more about Grant's composition than we do Shieldaig. Again, Grant's home distillery is Glenfiddich, and so their grain whiskey home is Girvan. So I know where this stuff comes from more than likely. Now lots of whiskeys go into this. It's not just Glenfiddich and Girvan. But I think with Shieldaig, you don't really know all that's in here. I'm guessing that Tamdhu may be in here because that's owned by Ian McLeod, and that's a Speyside. So, you know, maybe. But I definitely have more information about Grants. So Grants wins the composition prize. These are both 80 proof, by the way. So there's, you know, not a proof difference here. Price, value, and availability. Grants cost $17.49 at Goody Goody, but it's not available at Specs and was available at Total Wine, but only in a 1.75, which I never buy. And that was a good price, $23.99. Shieldaig is a Spirits Direct whiskey exclusively at Total Wine and in this 750 milliliter bottle for $17.99. Advantage goes to Grants, and again, it's the 4th or 5th largest selling Scotch brand out there. So price, value, and availability is heavy in Grant's favor. All right, let's get on to the whiskey itself. I will nose from left to right, and again, I don't know which whiskey's in which glass. I'm getting a mildly sweet whiskey nose. Nothing spectacular. Nothing really definitive about it. Maybe some light honey. Perhaps some heather. The glass on my right. Perhaps less of a nose. Yeah, I would say the one on the left wins the nose. But sometimes I just wonder if, because I smell that one first, maybe that wins the nose. I'm not sure. But my nose, to be honest, is pretty terrible about smelling whiskeys. So some scotches I can smell, but bourbons are usually useless on my nose. All right, so because the one on the right had the weaker nose, let's taste it first. That's a very pleasant taste, a little bit sweet. Definitely has got some Speyside going on there. There might be just the faintest hint of some peat smoke in the background on the finish. I don't know. A little bit spicy. I mean, that is a very pleasant drink. I'm getting a little bit of maybe fruitiness going on in there. Some sweetness, some honey, some fruit. So that's a very pleasant sip. Now, I failed to bring out some water to cleanse my palate, so let me go get some water. All right, I am back with some Topo Chico. That is my carbonated water of choice. It's great for cleansing the palate. So we started with the whiskey on the right, and it's a very nice, gentle, Speyside, fruity, a little bit of honey, heather, maybe a hint of smoke in the back. So now the whiskey on the left. This has a little bit deeper flavors, definitely wood. And so it tamps down on the sweetness some, which is fine by me. This is actually got, I think, a more depth of character to it. So it's still mildly sweet, but not as honey sweet as the other one. This has got the wood influence. Again, I'm getting perhaps heather. Maybe a bit more malty. I'm not getting, I got a hint of smoke on the one on the right. Very light touch. This one, I'm not finding that. When it comes to the burn, they're both, I think maybe the one on the right was had a little bit more of a spicy burn character to it. This one, not so much. Mouthfeel is going to be about the same on these. These are 80 proof blends, and so I don't call them light, but I want to call them a medium mouthfeel on both. The finish may linger a little bit more with the left. Let me try the one on the right again. I'm definitely getting a little bit more of the grain whiskey on this one, which when you watch other people's reviews, they say that in a kind of a negative way. I don't find anything negative about the grain whiskeys. What do you think bourbon is? Right? What do you think rye is? The grain whiskeys are still whiskey. They still have good flavors. But I'm thinking I get a little bit more of that on this one and the malt on the other one. But I do think maybe the finish on this one on the left is a little bit longer. All right, I'm going to say that the taste on the one on the left is more to my liking. There's nothing wrong with the one on the right. It's sweeter. I tend to like darker flavors, more wood. That's what I'm getting with this one on the left. The mouthfeel, burn, and finish. It's going to be pretty much a tie, I think. Because the one on the right had a little bit more of a spicy burn character to it, but the one on the left had a little bit longer finish. Mouthfeel's about the same. So, you know, it's just apples and oranges. You know, there's differences here. Which difference do I prefer? So can I determine a winner? I'm going to say that my taste profile leans more to the one on the left. The wood influence is there, giving it a deeper, darker flavor. The one on the right is more fruity, is sweeter, lighter, brighter. There's nothing wrong with that, but I tend to prefer this heavier influence here. So I'm going to say the one on the left is the winner. And I'm going to guess which is which. Because Grant's is called triple wood, this impact on the wood on the one on the left is what I'm chasing. So I'm thinking this is glass number 1. Oh no, this is glass number 2. Wow, totally altered. Wow, that is the Shieldaig. Okay, how in the world did that happen? There you go. We have a winner, and it is the little known Shieldaig. Grant's is known around the world, but here's Shieldaig, and I chose it, and for whatever reason, I got more wood off of it than I did the Grant's. Grant's, number 1. Yeah, that's blew me away. Okay, and this shows why you do blacked out glasses and head-to-head competition. Is I guessed and I was wrong. And my batting average on these blended scotches is about 50%. In other words, I get it right half the time and wrong half the time. And this is a case of I guessed wrong. That is amazing. Okay. Well, does the winner get a cocktail? Absolutely. So stand by and I'll make a cocktail out of Shieldaig. All right, I am back. I made the Godfather. A Godfather is quite simply Scotch with some amaretto, and I've got Di Serono right there. I have a tiny bottle of it because I don't make this cocktail often, and amaretto is excessively sweet for me. Now, I've also, I don't know if you can see it, but I put a slice of pear in there. Pears, this is a total experiment. I've never done this before, so this may be an abject failure. I don't know. All right, how does Shieldaig Classic Blend work with amaretto in the Godfather with a pear slice? I would say that works very well. That is quite good. The amaretto, I don't put much amaretto in there. You know, if you check some recipes, it's like a one, some of them start by saying a 1-for-1. 1 shot of amaretto, 1 shot of Scotch. And then some say no, only half a shot. But I don't even put that much. I put about maybe a tablespoon of amaretto in here because it's so sweet. And I prefer sweetness to be subdued a little bit. So what happens with this, amaretto I think is made from, I don't know, some kind of fruit pits or almonds or something. I'm getting kind of an almond flavor in here. It does sweeten it up a little bit. The pear is adding just a little hint of fruitiness. I'm going to give this cocktail a solid A. I mean, that absolutely worked. All right. Well, that's it for this match, and Shieldaig is the winner. Imagine that. I really was anticipating Grant's winning it, and when I tasted these, the woodiness of Shieldaig came through more than the Grant's. How's that even possible? Triple wood. I don't know. But that's why you do blind competitions. Now, what's up next for my channel? Well, we're going to do the single malt matchup between Glenfiddich 14 and the Shieldaig single malt Speyside. No age statement. How is that going to work? Glenfiddich 14 is a world-renowned whiskey. So we'll see. This is Stab the Dragon for Blended Scotch Reviews out here.